Welcome to Rock 10 Glory. This is the first episode of Reviewing CG. I'm going to be reviewing most, if not all, of the Comicsgate books that I receive. And first up is Norah's Saga. Now, Kelsey Shannon is an absolute master of his craft. If you know that Kelsey is going to be the artist on a comic book, you cannot go wrong buying that product, because the man is absolutely brilliant. His art is phenomenal. His visual storytelling is off the charts. You're going to get your money's worth, even if the story sucks, even if the entire thing is a wash. The art alone is going to be worth the price of admission. Kelsey is, I can honestly say, I think Kelsey Shannon is probably one of the absolute best visual storytellers on earth today, bar none. The guy is just a phenomenal artist. He delivers dynamic panels and beautiful art every single page. You just can't go wrong with Kelsey Shannon. And let me just, sorry for the fairly low quality. The best thing I could do is take some photos with my webcam of the comic book itself. And, I just kind of wanted to show how good Kelsey is at creating beautiful flow with his visual storytelling, dynamic panels. Every page is so engaging. It doesn't matter if it's just people talking or there's action taking place. It just doesn't matter. The man knows how to produce a page of comic book like no other. This is the very first page. Absolutely stunning. This is a 2-page spread. Just look at that. It's so phenomenal what he does with everything. He thinks about everything. The way Norah here is reflected up in the ice from underneath it's just all stunning. It's telling the story of the truck hitting the ice and what's happening there, and he's doing it in a very dynamic way. It's absolutely beautiful work. And then the other thing I love about Kelsey's work is the way he uses color to create tone, atmosphere, to shift the entire vibe of the comic. It's absolutely brilliant how he takes, he can take a simple color palette and just shift it and create a tone that is completely different than what you were looking at just the page before. And it's just, you turn every page of a Kelsey Shannon comic and it's so apparent. This man's passion, this man's commitment, and this man's mastery of his craft. Like I said, the Norah Saga, from an artwork perspective, absolutely brilliant. Now, let me grab the book real quick. The story is written by Blake Northcott. Wonderful, wonderful job, and I'll talk about that. The creator of the concept is Patrick Stiles. So I'm assuming, he came up with the concept, a loose framework, and then Blake Northcott, is actually writing the story and dialogue and the finer points. Blake absolutely nails. Norah Saga is just, it's top tier comic book, no matter how you slice it. The story pacing is perfect. The characterizations are absolutely wonderful. You care about all of the characters. It pulls you in instantly. It makes you feel what the characters are going through. This is just, it's the perfect example of just creating human level, relatable content that allows you to connect, whether you've gone through the exact same thing or a similar thing, it's relatable. You understand what the characters are dealing with. Norah, as a character, is kind of an outsider, doesn't fit in, and is dealing with a lot with her father. And, she's kind of, I feel like the characters develop this really intense level of sarcasm and uses wit to kind of mask the deeper emotional things she's going through. And it's absolutely perfect. It's so well written. The dialogue, it's, it just works. And that is, pulling off dialogue is just one of those things. I don't even think it's something that can be taught. I think you either can do it or you cannot. And Blake Northcott absolutely delivers on excellent dialogue. He doesn't feel a need to overdo it with the prose or exposition. He lets Kelsey tell the story visually without having, a lot of writers tend to, especially in comics, they tend to overdo it, and flexing those writer muscles. But Blake allows Kelsey, and I think it's, because Blake knows what level Kelsey is working at, he lets Kelsey do all that work in the visual storytelling. And it's really boiled down to mostly just dialogue between characters, which is exactly how it should be. Like I said, the pacing of the story, spot on. You're pulled into this world. You care about the characters. And at the end of the book, I'm absolutely left wanting to find out, what is happening, what happens to these characters, how they're going to evolve. Norah Saga is a beautiful creation. It's absolutely stellar. It's most certainly, if categorized as a Comicsgate book, it's certainly one of the best CG books to hit. It is top. It can compete with anything out there. But here's the problem I have with the book, and it has nothing to do. The writer, the artist, delivered this phenomenal piece of work. I don't have a complaint. There's nothing wrong with this book. It is everything you would want a comic book to be. It delivers on every level. The problem is the marketing. And this is baffling to me. I don't understand what the hell Allegiance Comics is thinking. And I'm sure it has nothing to do with Kelsey and nothing to do with Blake Northcott. This is just a marketing choice made by Allegiance Comics. So I get to the back of the comic book, the last page, and this is what awaits me, is an ad to check out Allegiance Comics online. It's got a young girl, and you can see Norah Saga sitting there, and I'm like, and this was present during the campaign for this book. It has emphatically been marketed to young girls, and in the back of the book, this is 100% reaffirmed and total commitment to this. Now, I don't know how many young girls are reading comics these days. I'm fairly certain that's never been a big part of comic book readership. Maybe that's changing. I don't have numbers on it. I don't know. It's not really the point. As an over 40 male, when I get to the back of my comic book and it basically tells me, oh, by the way, this book is for young girls, that's a problem. Why is it for you? Because the protagonist happens to be a young girl? What does that have to do with anything? Just because your protagonist is a young person, and specifically a young girl, why does that mean it's a book for young girls? If the story is told intelligently, eloquently, the art is off the chain, we're going to be delving into a world of Viking mythology. That stuff's badass and appeals to all ages and appeals to men. Why are you're going to tell me that this is a book for young girls? And what am I supposed to do with that information? Am I supposed to want to keep reading it? Now I feel weird. Now I feel like, there was that story of like this 52-year-old guy who just all of a sudden, he's married, he's got a wife and kids, and he decides, no, I'm actually a little girl trapped in this older man's body, and he transitions to being a little girl. And it's like, is that what I have to do to be a fan of this book now as an older man? Like, why are you doing this? Why are you creating a barrier to people who want to read this comic book? By pushing this aspect, you're building a wall between potential readers of the book. It makes absolutely no sense to me. Look, if your book is going to appeal to young girls, to young women, that's great. Let that happen naturally because of the protagonist. Just let that happen. Don't create the marketing around that because it basically signals to everyone else that this book isn't for them. That if you actually like this book and want to read it, then maybe you have a little girl living inside of you. Or what is that? Do you understand why this is a major problem? This is mainstream. This is mainstream level of stupid when it comes to marketing. It's alienating your readers. It's creating a barrier. And it doesn't need to be there. I loved this book. It was fantastic. It was well written. It's incredibly well drawn. There is no reason that a middle-aged man cannot enjoy this comic book. It's a relatable human level story that's going to have obviously it's clearly going to have this tremendously well executed arc that is human and relatable about someone becoming greater than what they thought they could be. It's not just about being for a little girl. It's so stupid. Just stop it. Allegiance Comics, Stop it. Don't market your books this way. It's fucking stupid. Now, I do have, oh, and I did, I got a t-shirt as well. Got a t-shirt, and it's like, once again, can I wear this shirt? When people ask, what's that? Oh, it's a comic book for young girls. You're making it real hard. You're making it real hard. Okay? Just please stop doing it. The book has appeal for everyone who loves this medium. It's a beautiful creation. Do not limit it by marketing it to young girls. It's absolutely absurd. Now, the other problem I have with the package I got from Allegiance Comics is this. Okay? It's a poster. And again, the quality, the photo here doesn't do, the artwork's great. It's not going to show up here that well. It's just a quick webcam photo. The problem is, this is garbage. What good is a piece of artwork with these kind of creases going right through the face of the protagonist, right through the middle of the artwork? What possible use is this? This is an instant piece of garbage. It has no value whatsoever. So presumably, I paid extra money for the total Norah Saga package, and I got my t-shirt, and I got my book, and I got this poster. And the poster is worthless. There's no value in this. It's creased all to hell. It's folded. This was a waste of my money, and it was a waste of Allegiance Comics money to print this and ship it. So, my point here is, when you're creating extras for your project, use some common sense. An extra should make a person buying your product happy. It should feel like a bonus. It should feel like, yes, all right, I got this extra thing on top of the comic book. It should be something that puts a smile on your face. This pissed me off. It just made me mad. Because it's a worthless piece of art with creases in it. Nobody wants that. Nobody who loves art wants a fucking Target, crosshair crease going right through the middle of it. It has no value. Just don't do it. If you're going to create, I would rather it be the size of the comic book, smaller, and in pristine condition. That's of greater value. I can do something with that. I can frame it, hang it, enjoy it. This is nothing. Has no value. Don't do it. If you have to fold a piece of art to send it with the comic book, then it's not an extra worth sending. Don't create it, don't print it, and certainly don't fucking charge us for it. Okay? So, I'm sorry this got a little, a little negative at the end. It's not a negative. The comic book is brilliant. Kelsey's art is brilliant. The story is fantastic. This is a wonderful comic book. It's marketed completely wrong, and some of their choices and what they shipped with it, not good. The comic book itself, fantastic. And it's a comic that everyone would be interested in, not just young girls. This is a wonderful book, and I want to continue reading it. You've made it a little difficult, because now I'm like, do I have to start questioning my gender identity? Am I a little girl at heart? You done fucked that part up. But tip of the hat to Kelsey on producing wonderful work, and to Blake Northcott for writing a great story. This is an incredible Comicscape book, and it's just an incredible comic in general. If you like the video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and I will see you next time.